Ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing is hand-knitted, felted slippers custom made for me. Hey everybody, it's me, Margaret, and it has been a while since my last basic sheepishly sharing video. I did do a tutorial of sorts for a wreath, a Halloween wreath, and I put that up. That was so fun and so easy. It was from a blog post, so if you haven't seen that, go look at it, just because I see the potential for lots of other wreaths done very easily like that. So if you didn't like that for Halloween, it could be a good idea for Thanksgiving or Christmas. But back to these slippers. I had such a wonderful time in Vermont, first of all, and I certainly did not expect a present like this. Now let me tell you why these are so important to me. Erin made them. Erin, give me yarn 418. And when you make felted slippers, not only are you worried about sizing as you would, say, a sweater or something, but in felting you have to make it bigger, because when it felts, it shrinks. And felting, of course, if you don't know, is how all the fibers sort of blend together into a literal felt material. And so this is knitted, but none of the stitch definition shows up after the felting. So how tricky is that? First of all, to be able to knit of good quality and then size after the felting process, which of course she did herself. I'm going to point you to her video where she talks a little bit more about this, because I've never actually put my two eyes on the process, so I can't talk intelligently about it, but you want to hear from the person that made it. But they are so comfy. They're showing up really bright on the screen. They're not quite as bright as this. But she asked me what my favorite color was, and I said, I don't really have a favorite color, and I really don't. I love color, and I have gotten the biggest charge. I think they're beautiful. But if you can see, they're little clog versions, and they fit me like a glove. They fit me like a slipper, like a glass slipper, like Cinderella. But seriously, how incredible. I don't think I've ever had a handmade gift that involved so much before. So I love my Erin, you know I do. I talk about her all the time in my videos, but that was a special friend. Now she also inundated me with a whole bunch of other wonderful gifts. Well, where is my, oh, here it is. Handmade gifts like this right here that she used her silhouette to customize. It's a wonderful little tin for notions, and she did one for everybody who was there that week. And look, a little tape measure that's shaped like a sheep. She shows you some of these things in that video, so I'm not going to go over each and every one of these wonderful gifts because you're going to see it there. So I was just flabbergasted. And then when I met up with the British crowd that came in, which was Terry and Zoe, I got more gifts. Look at these precious stitch markers with British. And I don't know if I ever told you, that came from Zoe. I don't know if I ever told you, but my family, my maiden name is Tarleton, and my family is British from way back. As a matter of fact, I would have a title if I was still British. Now, speaking of British, Terry included me in the same type of giveaway that they were doing with their group after I left. And I didn't consider myself part of that group since I only got to see them for one night. And I was not expecting to receive something like this. First of all, isn't that bag precious? And I'm sure we all watch the same people, don't we? I mean, at least our little group does. And so Zoe showed hers or whatever. In it was some sock yarn that was beautiful. And I'm so excited because we're going to talk about socks here in a minute. This is West Yorkshire Spinners. And isn't that beautiful? It's that, see how that tiny little short white color change? It ends up looking like Fair Isle. And he did not miss a trick I mean, it's filled with all the things that they were doing for their little swap. Look how precious. I just love that sheep. Herdy, H-E-R-D-Y. I know you've seen it before, but, and bookmarks and, oh yes, the Harry Potter stitch markers. I love Harry Potter, so that's fun. More Herdy stuff. I'm sure that they showed this all to you in the other videos, so I don't want to repeat, but we get excited when people give us such wonderful gifts that we all want to show them off. But I do want to talk about something that I got that was different from some of the others that you have seen, and I have it hiding right here in my sock making notebook. Now, what's in my sock making notebook, you ask? Well, Sarah Hepworth, who, if you follow her on Instagram, first of all, she can knit anything beautifully, but she is super wonderful at sock making. And I mean, she makes a lot of socks. She makes a lot of beautiful socks. She has, just exquisite taste. Not only does she choose this beautiful yarn and she uses this wonderful skill, but then she stages the picture for it in such an artistic manner, so you can't beat that. But anyway, Sarah gave me these Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and that's available on Ravelry if anybody's on there, and it's supposed to be a wonderful, easy heel, especially for those of us who are beginners. And Erin gave me some Cʀᴜ sock needles. And I want to tell you guys, this is my first time with these needles, and I think they're not, I don't know if that's exactly how you're supposed to pronounce that or not, but the cord is really, really nice. And so I had a really good time using these guys. And what, you say? I used those guys? Did I make a sock? Why, yes, I did. Thanks for asking. And here it is. Isn't it pretty? Now, it leaves much to be desired, I assure you. I had difficulty with the Kitchener stitch over here. It's just a mess, but whatever, it goes in your shoe. And I misunderstood the directions on the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, so one side looks really funny over here. But regardless, I got the job done, and they are this is a wearable sock. So very eager to do the next one. I cast it on and off I went, and I totally screwed up on the heel. I don't know what I was doing. And I mean, actually I was doing pretty well, but there was one or two things that I saw that I just couldn't live with. I wanted to rip it out. I wanted it to be perfect. So I did. I ripped back. I got it just where I wanted to, but my needles were back in. Everything's great, but I put my needles in the wrong way. So now I got mad. So I put it up and took a break from my sock knitting, and I'll go back to it. This is the sock. This is Deborah Norville sock yarn in the color Cadet that was given to me by Brian a while back. I've just had my eye on it for so long, and I packed it to bring. So when I get my skills down, I'll move into some of my new gifted yarn that I got recently. I also have a bunch of wonderful sock yarn that I want to put to work, given to me by Anne at our Christmas swap last year. So I'm really eager to do that too. So in other words, my goal of learning to knit socks is finally coming to fruition, and I believe I can do it. And I actually do love it. You guys have been telling me that I was going to love it, and you're right. It is very mindless knitting, which I really enjoy, until you get to the heel. And as Erin pointed out, and she's always right when she says the things like this, once you get the hang of it, it becomes very easy. And so all I have to do is just suffer through and keep doing these until it becomes second nature. And she told me that too when I was learning to knit. So any of you people out there who are learning to knit, she said it's muscle memory. You feel like an awkward preschooler when you're first learning to knit. It's like you can't get your fingers to do what they need to do. It's just, you're just, and soon, once you get it down, the actual act of knitting becomes automatic. It's muscle memory. Now, I still can't picture myself ever becoming one of those people who knits in the dark. Or as Erin does, she knits without looking and carries this complete conversation on with you, and complete with animated expressions or whatever, and the rhythm never stops. And I don't know how she does that, but that's okay. I'm not there yet. And I think that's one of the things I love most about knitting is you never know it all. There's always something new to learn. There's always an improvement on your basic skills. It's just a never-ending story. Look, I forgot to show you what else lives in the sock notebook. Erin gave me this too. Now there's something very special about this, and that is it's a sock measuring tool that actually belonged to her. It's what she used every day to use all her socks. Did I say use all her socks? I meant to knit all her socks. Duh. And look, on the back, she put this handy-dandy little chart. She just glued it on the back and put her own notes for hers and Kristen's shoe sizes. Now, I wear a 7.5 or an 8 shoe, so my size is somewhere in there. This is when you stop knitting and begin your toe. And how about that? Talk about a coveted prize. That's special to me. Now, speaking of gifts, do you remember a few weeks ago I met the SSK, Sharon and Caron of SSK Yarners. I met them out for lunch one day, and Sharon, who is one of those people who can do absolutely everything, she gifted me, she brought for me some project bags. Look at my Christmas project bag. Isn't that adorable? And look, it's the opposite on this side. See? And something that Sharon does, oh, and there's also a smaller one, and it's upstairs because that's the one that I was using for my socks. Let me interrupt myself to show it to you. This is pretty much the same thing as the big bag, except for she made it with a drawstring. And as much as I love the zipper bags, she remembered my saying that I love a drawstring bag because I like to keep my stuff in it while I'm working, and that way I can keep the hair off the yarn. And as you can see, I'm sure there is plenty of dog and cat hair on my yarn. You could do that with a zipper bag too, I'm sure. It's just that I have gotten my yarn caught in the zipper before as I'm dragging it out. Maybe I'm just a clumsy bumsy. Something that Sharon does that is so unique that I don't see a lot of people do is she uses those stitches on her machine to decorate. Look, you see that little swirly swirl? And on this side, the Christmas trees. It's just always something where she just puts that little extra, and that's Sharon. You need to watch SSK Yarners and you'll get to know more about each of them, but Sharon is the kind of person who is naturally talented, and then she goes the extra step. I have some really cool little stitches on here. I've only used them on my machine. I'm sorry. And I've only used them one time, and I made this little apron for my horse riding friend, and it had dogs all over it, and I have a little dog pattern stitch that you could choose, and I used it one time. That was it. So thank you, Sharon. Now here's something else about Vermont is I came home with all of this yarn, besides some absolutely exquisite gifts of sock yarn that I got. Look how beautiful. These are knit picks. So now some of them have cat hair on them because I left this suitcase open with the yarn in it so I could specifically talk about it, and then Smitty got in here to sleep. So now I have to clean up all my yarn. But aren't those absolutely beautiful? Look at them. Look. One after another. So with my newfound sock knitting talent, I'm going to go crazy. Also, do you see some tea in here? Let's talk about this just for a minute. Some of that gorgeous yarn that you saw up there was a total surprise waiting on me in Vermont. And included with it, with that tea that you saw, was this book. I'm so excited about my socks, can you tell? This came from Crafty Jen, if any of you follow her on Instagram. Jennifer was so thoughtful, and she and Erin are buddies, and she sent a package to be waiting on me when I got there. And it was filled with some of that wonderful yarn that you saw up there, that tea, and this book. And I have had the best time with the book. Now, my knitting guru Erin has told me to stick with the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, but in that, which Sarah Hepworth got for me, Sarah said, read every word in that Fish Lips Kiss Heel because it has so much more information on it than just the heel pattern. It's just very knowledgeable. And this book contains a lot of other extra information in there too. And I've had the best time reading through this book. It's made by Interweave, which we're all familiar with for those of us in the knitting community, but it's called Knitting Socks. Getting Started. It's a Getting Started series, and this is perfect for a beginner. And it's, of course, I go to bed with it reading it. So it is wonderful. But Jen, I can't thank you enough. That was absolutely such a surprise and so touching. She zeroed in on me, didn't she? With the sock yarn, well, all the beautiful yarn that was included in there, the sock, the tea, I mean, she got me. That was right there. So Jen, virtual hug to you right there. I have had more fun with especially this book, and I can't wait to improve my skills so I can dive into some more of that great yarn. And look at these also from Knit Picks. Aren't they just beautiful? I mean, darn it, now I'm getting cat hair on them. I'm going to have to clean them all up. Look at the colors. Just breathtaking. Now over here you see a bunch of big box store yarn. This came from Erin. She was doing a closet clean out, and she let me have some of these wonderful yarns that she had no use for, that she wasn't planning to do anything with. So I was really excited about that. These will make some perfect charity items. I keep pulling things out of my magic bag here. This was, Erin showed this too on that video. This is another one of my bags. I just have the cutest collection of bags thanks to my friends. All right, let's talk about this. Oh, what's that you have there, Margaret? Is that Caron cakes? No, it is not. What this is 3 skeins turned into 3 copies of Caron cakes. See them? 1, 2, 3. I used to do this. I love this yarn, which is the Hobby Lobby brand, and they are in the colors Ocean, Peacock, and Turquoise. But don't ask me which is which because I can't remember now. But I bought them a while back, and they were on sale. Now, Hobby Lobby has the puniest sales. I think, now this was in Mississippi, $3.88 was the going price, and when they're on sale, they're like $3.60 something, so 20 cents, woohoo! But that's as good as it gets for Hobby Lobby, unless, of course, you want to use a 40% off coupon regular price. But then you can only do that like one at a time, so that's not very efficient. So, essentially, though, I created a Caron cake for $3.60-something a piece, so that was fun. But again, it's all acrylic. It's not that wonderful wool blend. And I see that Caron cakes are back on the market. Caron cakes are great. I love the colors together, but it's quite a hoopla for something that's pretty much just colors joined together and wound up. You really can get the same effect just by knitting and then picking up a new color and adding it. But I think the reason why this is so much fun is because you choose the color combinations and you measure it out to be roughly the same amount. So I think I did mine by grams, and basically what I did was put the skein on the scale, attached it up to the yarn winder, And then I kept checking. You know, you have to make sure you're not getting any tension from the yard winder. You have to pull it down and make sure you're just weighing what's left. And I think I used about 35 grams per color change. So, but anyway, it's fun. And I like seeing the colors together. But, yeah. So in other words, Caron Cakes is really nothing special. It's just that they've put together those color combinations for you with some really soft yarn. So that's kind of cool. Now you may be wondering what has taken me so long to get back to you with my videos, and that was simply because life got in the way. I got back from Vermont on a Thursday night, and I had to be at Thomas's school for Parents Weekend early Friday morning. And that's really a great weekend. It's filled with pomp and circumstance, with luncheons and parent-teacher conferences, where he's excelling, by the way. A tailgate party with food and games before the big football game, a homecoming dance for the cadets and their dates, and a casino night fundraiser for us parents, which included an excellent dinner and lots of fun. You remember I had accepted that position of parent coordinator for the 10th grade, so it was my responsibility to put on the grill night at Thomas's school, and I absolutely had no idea how they run things around here. So I had a lot of responsibilities to get that together. I went to the 12th grade night to observe. The next night was ours. Then you have to go back and you know, settle up expenses and all that. To make a long story short, that took up a lot of time. And I already had my Vermont trip planned before I knew I was going to have this responsibility. So that kind of got in the way of things. But I did do some knitting on the way there. But I'm going to hold off showing you what it is. It was actually a bunch of swatches, because Barbara Benson had contacted me about this new booklet of patterns that she's put out that you're going to love. And I'm going to tell you about that soon. I hope to film that after I get this filmed. It's the editing process that takes so much time. But anyhow, on top of all of that, then Tucker called and said, "Do you mind if I bring Mama," that's what we call his mother, for the weekend? Well, of course I didn't mind that, but of course that also takes up a lot of the time that I was planning on shooting and editing and doing that stuff, because you want to spend time with your mother-in-law. So we had that. She just left. We have Halloween tonight. Then we have Saturday. We are leaving to go to Orlando. Tucker has to attend a conference, and you know we are Disney nuts in our family, and so I get to go and take an independent solo trip, so to speak. So we'll have the free place to stay because of his convention, and then they have a shuttle that'll take me over to the parks. Well, lo and behold, it happens to be Wine and Dine Half Marathon weekend, so a lot of my Disney friends will be there. Just like I made a bunch of yarn friends through this yarn community, the online yarn community, I long before this made a bunch of Disney friends through the online community. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up with a lot of them through the course of the time that I'm there. So I'm really looking forward to that. But of course it's cutting into my knitting time and well, filming and editing, because you know I have to edit as I stumble through my words through all of this. And speaking of knitting, I also have something else on the go. Do you remember when I was fussing at Yarnspirations for having those horrible marketing photos? They had this modern kind of poncho that I really liked, and they had it styled over a peasant blouse, and it was too short for this lovely, gorgeous girl, but I really liked the pattern. So I'm trying it. I'm going to see how it comes out for me. But of course I forgot to bring it down here, so come with me. Yeah, we have to go upstairs because this is where I sit most of the time. See my quilt? We have so many quilts because my aunt. But this is what I'm working on. I'm making it blue, just as the picture is that they did. It's very simple at this point. Pretty much it's 5 knits and 3 purls, and then you turn it around and you go the other way. So I am looking forward to seeing how that turns out. But that's pretty mindless, and if you do mess up, it's very easy to fix because I keep my crochet hooks handy so that I can fix that. Although professionals do not seem to need that, as Erin demonstrated when she fixed my sock 500 times. I'm sure plenty of interesting things have happened between over the last 3 weeks since I've done one of these videos, but I can't remember what they are right now. So I'm going to cut this off because my word, I could have you sitting here way too long listening to me jabber on, and we will, if I think of what it is that I'm forgetting, I will do it in the next video. But in the meantime, you have a great week. I hope to have something up for you on a regular basis again now that things are beginning to slow down a little bit. I will be taking lots of pictures at Disney, but if I put that up, it'll be in a separate video. So those of you who are not Walt Disney World crazy like I am, you can completely skip over that. Those of you who do, you can share the fun. So I guess that's all for now. I'll talk to you later. Bye.